set overnight. A little cold in the garage, so I want to give it a lot of time to make sure it's set well. So now we'll go ahead and flip it over, take that clay off, and make our second half. And here we go. So this is set overnight. It's nice and solid. It's done its thing. It's kicked. It's cured. Yay! So now we can go ahead and start opening this guy up. So I'm just going to go around, and I know where it's already cut. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that down like that. And then cut this one down like that. And then just cut along the bottom. And start working this apart. Taking my foam core away from the model. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Now you can see my clay, my silicone. Just do that all the way around. I'm going to try not to break the corners of my box so that I can just flip it and retape the other side when I do the other half. Ta-da! So there we go. I have my silicone, I have my clay, I have one half that's all nice and solid. Now I can just go ahead and flip this guy. And there's my bottom. Now all this little slag that kind of goes under, you can kind of trim this off. Just where it got underneath a little bit. There we go. And now we can start to take this clay off. Now when you're removing the clay, you want to make sure that you don't pull up the prop with it, because you want that prop to stay seated inside of the silicone so that you don't get any silicone flowing under it when you pour the second half. So you got to be a little bit careful when you start this clay. It'll have a little bit of a suction going too. And this is going to be doubly hard because it's cold in the garage, so this clay is going to be really set. and you start taking it off. Now the one nice thing with the clay being this cold is hopefully it'll come off in nice big pieces. Which is nice because then you won't have as much cleanup on your prop. Trying to make sure you can still see what I'm doing in the cameras. Move these. And as I'm prying this up, I'm making sure I keep that gun seated in the silicone. You don't want to rush it. You just want to keep slowly kind of working these pieces up. When this clay is cold, it is solid. You see, I'm not rushing it. After doing all this work we've done, I don't want to mess up the mold at this stage. I'm just using the screwdriver just to loosen it up a little bit from the silicone so I can get my finger under there. And now once you start, there's going to be a little bit of clay that's stubborn. And some of these cracks and things like that. But once I start actually taking these little bits of clay off the gun itself, I don't want to use anything metal, because I may scrape some of that finish that I've done on here. I'm still going to probably go ahead and sand this a little bit just to get that rest of the clay up. But I like using the rubber tips that you can use for when you're actually sculpting with clay. To start getting in there and getting some of this extra little bits of clay that'll be stuck in there. And this one came off pretty good. There shouldn't be that much cleanup necessary. One thing you'll notice, I did lose my trigger guard, but I'll be able to put that back in for the second half. And then I'll just spray it with a little bit of gloss to reseal it around there. A little bit of clear coat before I spray my release agent. Because the one thing you definitely want to remember when you're doing your second half of your mold is to spray it well with release agent. Remember, silicone sticks to silicone. If you don't have a good release agent sprayed in there, you'll have a big old one-part mold. And that is definitely not what you want. But that's basically how you get your first part of your mold. Took the clay off. I'm going to do a little bit more cleanup. And like I said, I'm probably going to hit this with a little bit of sandpaper to get some of that smoothness back. Because I got a little bit of clay sticking around the corners here. So I will get that done. And then we will be back to pour our second half. Yay!